Flight 746 bound for Tube Territorial International Airport.
스케줄에 따라서 조금 차이가 있겠지.
Please support them under the seat in front of you. There is a bar under your seat to keep your baggage in place.
다른 거지.
This is which flight 746 bound for Chiba Territorial International Airport.